Hello survivors and welcome to another Walking Dead Road to Survival video, and in this video we're going to be going over Gold Mythic Christa and doing a little starter guide for this character who has come to the game as part of a Gold Rush event. I know a lot of people would have got their hands on this character at various grades. Hopefully you did get lucky and get her to limit break 3. If you do want to check out how this character technically works, I have done a preview video just going over all the skills and so on and so forth, just to show how it actually works. This is just more of a guide on how much to upgrade certain passives, what combat mods to use, the weapon, and potential team builds going forward. Now when it comes to the passives, it's actually kind of nice because even with just one copy of this character, she can be used as the niche support character that I was talking about in my preview videos, because she gets Maglite Scan even at grade 4, and this will remove camouflage from Hina defense teams, and that is actually pretty decent. But primarily she is a defense team character, and we're going to be gearing her as a defense team character, but you can get away with using her as a defense team character and a niche attack team character with the same mods and so on and so forth. You just maybe want to switch out the weapon. Now when it comes to upgrading her stuff, I'd say Maglite Scan is definitely worth upgrading whether you want to use her on attack or not. On defense, it's still going to be useful. Precision is the only one that I would say is not maybe as amazing. If you obviously want to have a better chance of hitting things on her actual control, then maxing that out is important. But she doesn't have huge amounts of control. It's decent, but it's not too crazy. The biggest thing that I kind of see is her Guardian Shields and some of her passives. Now, Seen It All is another one, I think, with the trauma resistance, where Telltale Allegiance teammates get trauma resistance. It's nice for Krista, because obviously of her specialist skill, but it isn't vital. Again, if you're short on these upgrade supplies, I wouldn't necessarily say this is a priority. Bolstered is important though. This is going to give her survivability every single turn. It has to be stolen away. Even if someone does steal it away every single turn, they're having to steal it away. This is actually pretty decent. It's always going to be at least a 50% defense buff if you get her to limit break 3 with Bolstered 2, because she is a control character. So Bolstered definitely. Maglite as well, I would say is a definite one. Seen It All and Precision are the only ones that I would say don't necessarily have to be maxed out, but just get them there when you can. 9 out of 20 could be absolutely fine for these ones in the meantime. Now as we jump over to the mods of Krista, we can see that I haven't fully leveled this character yet. I'm going to be maxing her out as much as I want to, probably to 600 plus in the next level up tournament, because right now I've already hit my milestones. But you can see the stat balance on this character. She has got very low attack, mediumly high on defense, and quite high HP. The HP I think gets to close to 40,000, and generally speaking it's best to try and boost the stat on the defensive side of things. That is the higher one with combat mods, because combat mods only affect the base stats. They don't interact with weapon multipliers, they don't interact with leader multipliers. So if you want to get the highest output, it generally speaking is good to go with the highest stat, just to get the highest actual amount of number, like pure number in defense or HP. This is actually a big bonus as well, because I have seen people talking about her usability with leaders with a defense leader skill, and that she isn't that good with that. Because if you go with HP set and a HP mod, it's going to boost that HP massively just on the mods. You don't necessarily have to have a HP leader skill. You can just go with defense, boost that defense nice and high. Her combination with someone like Kyle will be good as well, because of the fact that Kyle gives defense. You do generally want to get defense and HP to be around the same number once the character is fully decked out with weapon, inner team, combat mods, and with the leader skill. If the HP is way too higher than the defense, she's going to be susceptible to certain like heavy hits, as you can probably see with Peacekeeper, gets kind of wrecked. If the defense is too high for the HP, she's going to be susceptible to things like burn and bleed, as much as she can resist that. So we're going to go with a HP mod, and as you can see we have got HP on HP. That instantly gives her a pretty big boost up to 40k. Now this is obviously only at level 275 of her base levels. This will boost her up to close to 50k on her normal level, so you can kind of see the kind of boost she's going to be getting. This is without even the set bonus. So with the set bonus on top, I think she'll probably have close to 60,000 HP without a weapon or a leader skill. That's actually pretty decent. Now top right hand corner I think is really obvious. You want to go with defense versus tough. Now here you can go offset if you've got unlucky, kind of like me. I've got a 70% defense versus tough. It is on the wrong set, but I would only lose a really small amount of HP compared to a massive defense versus tough here. And there are some heavy hitting tough characters out there that have been released recently. Now the bottom right hand corner here is quite important to get this right. I would say the only mod that you don't want to use is going to be trauma resist. Obviously she gets that in her passives, so you can just go with 100% trauma resist from her passives and be pretty fine there. I will say you don't have to go for your best possible mod. So if I scroll down a little bit and I find my stun resists, I can see that this one is 32% right now. Let me go to one that's actually, there we go, 67%. I don't need to use this 67% one. I can use one that is closer to 50% because of her specialist skill, where it'll boost whatever mod I put on her by 50%. So it'll give her immunity as long as it's 50% plus. So you can give her one of your worst mods as long as it's obviously the resist that you want it to be, and it will go up to 100% stacking with that specialist skill. Now, one of the only things that Krista does not get a boost against is Decapitate off of her base specialist skill. However, she will get resist against crosshairs, so you could try and work in crosshairs resist if you think that's a big deal. It really does depend on what team she's in. If she's in a team that gives burn and bleed resist already, like with someone like Princess in the team with lots of alert and strong characters, you don't need to go for any burn and bleed resist. You're absolutely fine there. If she's in a team with Wang Fa lead, same sort of deal. So you want to just primarily kind of figure out what leader you're going to use first. So if you're using someone like Rick, he doesn't give any resist except against crit, which actually would be quite nice with Krista, to be honest. But I'm going to use crosshairs resist here as a base. You can definitely go with anything like stun, taunt, daze. Daze is actually going to be a really good one because her signature move is really good. As much as there isn't that much daze on attack teams, if you can protect that signature move and guarantee almost that it's going to go off, I would say that's a big thumbs up. But we'll get onto that when I get to the wildcard slot. Now the bottom left hand corner mod is actually really difficult on Krista. I like to do things like defense while stunned or defense while confused, but she's not going to get stunned and confused as often as other characters, so that it's not going to be as effective. So you could potentially use something like Reflect or Graze. I think these two are probably the two better ones, things that she can't get with her specialist skill to make her a bit more annoying. Now, probably the heaviest hitting character out there right now is Carl when it comes to tough characters, and you can't reflect Carl's rush, and you also can't graze it. So there's not much you can do when it comes to this sort of thing, unfortunately. You just got to kind of come up with a nice idea. Now, if you did want to use her as an attack team character, like on a niche attack team, you could potentially use AP Drain, and that would work on attack and defense. But on defense, it would only work with her basic attack, so it just wouldn't go off very often. But there isn't much you can use in the bottom left-hand corner. Unfortunately, this is quite a running thing with a lot of characters in RTS. So I've decided to go with a Graze mod. This is going to work when she gets hit by attacks that can crit. It doesn't work against deal damage, but like I said, there's not much you can do in this bottom left-hand corner. You could potentially go with defense while stunned or defense while confused, just to kind of counter someone like Trader, who is a control role character, who obviously have a better chance of hitting those controls because he will reduce Krista's specialist skill down to 10% chance to base resist. Now the last mod we're going to go for, and by no means least, is going to be the wildcard slot. I think I've already given away what I'm going to go for here. It is going to be Daze Resist. I have been pretty unlucky with my Daze Resist. I don't have too many on HP, and the rolls I get aren't great. A lot, as you can see, I haven't maxed out some of the ones I've already started progressing, and I have one here at 59%, but that's absolutely fine. This is going to make it be 100% with her specialist skill, so she's going to be immune to being dazed by non-control characters. It's pretty much as simple as that. The only other option I'd say you've got for this middle slot is going for another defense versus, let's say, a premium damage role character that you think is going to be problematic for the team you put her in, and that could potentially be Sophia. So you see Sophia as being a problem for the team you put her in, so you do defense versus fast in this slot instead. If she's in a team with Princess, Sophia is not going to be as much of a problem, so defense versus fast would be a waste. You see what I'm saying? So you've got to make sure you change the mods here based on the teammates that surround Krista. But this is kind of a good base on what I'd build Krista like. you're going to be able to use this kind of setup in any team that you put her in pretty much, and she's going to get bonuses. You can switch things out based on the leader skill, based on her teammates, so on and so forth. Now, when I confirm this, you can see with just a 3-slot bonus, giving an extra 12%, the extra HP has gone up to nearly 45,000. Remember, her base is only 33,000 right now for me. When she's maxed out, it's close to 40 off base, so she'll get another 10 to 11k minimum at that point, and she'll be up to close to, you know, 50, 52, 53k because of, you know, the fact that it'll be slightly higher HP. And don't forget, if you do have actual HP set mods, you'll be able to get a bigger HP slot bonus, and that will obviously boost the HP even more. So definitely worth trying to get HP set days, for instance, or HP set defense versus. If you've been unlucky like me, it's just the way it goes. But I would 100% use a 3-set bonus. Even if it's only a 12% bonus, it's still something. Okay, so now we have got Krista in a team. We can see her stats. This is a good way to build your character off base, just to kind of see the kind of stats they're going to get in a team. Kind of weapons that she can use, I definitely go with defensive weapons. If you get the one from the current battle pass, that is a big thumbs up. That works on her very well. However, there are some other weapons out there that are pretty decent too. And here are just a few, if you did manage to get some of these from previous events and battle passes. We have got the Carl's pistol. Basically, she's going to give extra defense based on the amount of alert characters to other teammates. Remember, she gets a defense buff from her own passive, so she's really good to hold on to an alert defensive weapon. Because a lot of the time, that's the downside of holding this weapon. The person holding it doesn't get the buff. But with Krista, that's not going to be a problem. Focus stun is also nice. Just getting focus is the nice part of this. The fact that she stuns enemies is a bonus. And I think, I'm not actually 100% certain, but I think maybe the stun from this weapon does have a better chance to occur because she is a control role character. I'll actually have to get that confirmed, but I would assume that would be the way it would work. Now, when it comes to other weapons, pretty much the same sort of deal. Absolute defense is nice. Reducing damage over time effects by 35% again is nice. It really depends on the team again that you're going to have her in. Again, more absolute defense, more alert buffs. Again, works perfectly with Krista. I would say if you're going to use more HP stuff in her mods, you probably want to make it so that the defense is higher just by a little bit on her weapon. As you can see, I primarily upgrade my weapons with HP stats, and sometimes that can be a little bit of a downside. However, if you're completely free to play or you haven't picked up any of those previous event weapons, there is a weapon currently in the Mythic market, which is Diamond's Cowboy Pistol. This is pretty decent. It's going to have basic stun, so not as high chance to proc. It'll still have the HP and defense stats, which is obviously a big thumbs up. You can give it defense stat instead of HP stat. I should probably pick up a second one to give it more of a defense-based weapon. That'd be actually pretty good. And then we've got Cleanse. Now, she's not going to get controlled as often as other characters, but this wouldn't be terrible. I would still say an alert buffs weapon is probably the best way to go with her. And that is why I'm going to use my best alert buffs weapon. It has got improved focus stun. It has got higher HP. I could reset this to get higher defense. We will see how problematic it is. But if I equip this weapon to Krista, you can see that her HP goes up to 60k and her defense goes up to 36k. Remember, my Krista is only level 275. Now, with this sort of stat balance, the leader needs to be a defense boosting character. Because if it's a HP boosting character, her defense is going to be way too low. And a defense boosting character is someone like Hina, and that would work perfectly. However, if you wanted to use someone like Rick lead, you'd have to switch out the mods so it would be more defense based, because Rick gives HP instead of defense. As you can see, if I add Rick to the team, her HP goes extremely high, and this looks great. But with this sort of HP number, I'd want at least 65 to 70k defense. Otherwise, I think I've probably gone too high with HP. There are a couple of characters which are a little bit different than this. That would obviously be characters like Peacekeeper and Nor, because their HP numbers are massive because of their passives. But this, you definitely want to get the defense up as high as possible on Krista to balance this out. Otherwise, she's very susceptible to just being absolutely nuked by any heavy-hitting damage dealer. Now, here are a few characters that are going to work quite well with Krista. We have got Hina because of the massive defense boost that she's going to get from Hina as a leader. That is actually pretty good, especially with the build that I've done. Princess protects Krista against someone like Sophia, and that means you don't have to do defense versus fast in her kit, so you could have them on the same team. Protector Aaron has a boost in his passives where I think he gives control role characters 20% extra HP. This is big, so definitely those team up could work well. Kyle does the same to a certain extent, but this is going to be with defense for all alert characters. And Nor in general is good because of the bonus HP that she's going to give to the team. I think a Nor, Princess, and Krista team up could be really good because obviously Nor's biggest downside is she's giving bonus HP to the enemy team, and then Sophia's getting buffed off of that bonus HP. But if she's in a team with Princess, that's not going to be as big a problem. So there could be some nice team ups there with these 5 characters. Now these ones are obviously a little bit more harder to come by, either being Ultra or Advanced or previous Battle Pass characters, but let's check out some of the free-to-play options you've got as well. Now there obviously aren't as many characters for free-to-play that would kind of work well with Krista. It's just kind of the way it is. We have got Ezekiel, who does give a defense boost as a leader. He is quite old, but he still is reasonably decent. He gives out Guardian Shields on turn 2 though, which is not as great because obviously that's what Krista does. Jesus is good because of the cleanse. As much as she's not going to be controlled too often, if she is, she should get cleansed from time to time by Jesus. Lao Po's kind of good because she will taunt characters potentially off of turn 1, giving more chance by turn 2 for Krista to get up the Guardian Shields just to slow down the fight a little bit more. And that's kind of why I've got Zachary here as well, for the same sort of reason, because if the Guardian Shields go up, it's going to make the fight last longer, and basically Zachary's bleed's going to have more chance of actually proccing twice against the attack team, which is generally very, very problematic. Now the last character is going to be Alert Progression Mission Maggie. She's going to be pretty good because it's going to help Krista just not get one shot. Maggie's another character that can also hold an alert defenses pistol. So if you do realize you don't have as many characters to give Krista a massive buff, you could hold the alert defenses pistol on Maggie and then obviously give Krista the defense boost from that weapon. There is of course Rick Lead that you can go with as well, but you would have to change up the mods like I said previously. So that's it on my little starter guide for Gold Mythic Krista. If you have any thoughts about this character, how you're going to gear her out, the kind of team you're going to put her in, let me know in the comments down below. If this video was useful for you, please share the video with your faction and hit the like button. It does massively help the video. Thank you very much for tuning in, and as always, keep on surviving, guys. Keep on surviving.